Welcome to Toonami Faithful viewers. I'm senior staff writer CJ Maffris here at MomoCon, my first MomoCon. So this has been Atlanta's been great. I'm glad to see that you guys are here enjoying it too. We're with Steve Blum, Gill Austin, and Dana Swanson as well.
Hello, I'm here.
The voice of Sarah, of course. We just got back from the Toonami panel and their autograph signing. I have to say the fans were shaking. They were just so excited. What's it like seeing that kind of elation from fans about a block? Not necessarily a show, but just a block that you've been like a part of for so long.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's crazy because Steve and Dana are artists, and it makes sense. I'm always like, this is going to make your thing you just bought for $27 worth $2. So, and my signature sucks. Like the whole thing just feels like such a waste for everybody. But it's really powerful and meaningful to hear the stories that people tell and talk about how long they've been watching and how long they've been fans, and that they're making the effort to come out and to see us. I mean, we talk about it before, but like back in the day, Toonami, we didn't do conventions. There wasn't social media. I mean, we had fan art that came in, and that was honestly the only time we ever knew anyone was watching other than ratings. So in terms of like a personal one-on-one relationship, it's super meaningful and a lot of fun to be able to come out. And other than my own guilt and imposter syndrome, I think everything's totally good.
What about yourself?
We wouldn't have a show without this guy, so whatever he said is crap just now. It's humbling when people talk about the show as being a huge part of their childhood, and our voices being a prominent part of their childhood, and in many cases a good part of their childhood. So it's humbling, and it actually kind of redefined my purpose as a human being, much less as an actor. It gave me purpose for doing this kind of work, because we thought back in the day that we were yelling into a padded room, and we weren't sure if anybody would be listening. And Toonami really brought this out to a worldwide audience that wouldn't have seen it otherwise. So very grateful.
Oh, hello.
I did not even know that.
We Freaky Friday. Hello, I'm Gill Austin. Everything I write is great, and I'm just going to revise what Gill said because, Gill gave me the opportunity to be the voice of Sarah, so I'm very grateful to him. But I love getting to come to these conventions and hearing directly from people how they feel about the block, and also the fact that Toonami is sort of like this hang zone because of not just like what the shows that air, but because of the characters and because of the things that are talked about on it. People feel like, oh, this is a place where I can kind of like feel comfortable in my own skin or learn something, or like especially with like the Tom speeches or with some of the music videos, like see something you wouldn't normally see. So I feel like getting to bask in that is always really nice. Like, oh, these are actual humans on the other end of that television or computer or mobile phone, iPad. I don't know.
And since you came on to be part of the Toonami staff a little later than obviously Steven and Gill, how does it feel like getting to sit in these conventions, seeing these packed crowds and everything for you, just because you weren't around at least as much as the other ones at the time?
Yeah, well, it's super fun. Like I've been, I've kind of been a convention nerd since 2006. So for me, it's like, oh, I've done a couple things like with Adult Swim prior to doing the things with Toonami. So getting at least to do like things on panels, be like, oh, this is fun. But doing like this is just such a different level as far as like the fandom and the people that are so just rabid to get to talk to us or share their stories or share like how Toonami has changed their life. Like that's fascinating. It's a completely different aspect than like doing like an odd improv show on stage. So yeah.
So the big thing, at least that I took away from the convention, at least from the panel, is the Forge. How excited are you guys getting to do another immersion event, get to act out with not like Spike, not like an anime character or a cartoon character, with the hosts of Toonami? Like, how exciting is that?
I mean, other than the inspirational speeches, this is my favorite thing to do. I think it really deserves to have more story for these characters, and the animation is just getting better and better and better. The music is awesome, and the story is really good. The writing is really good in these things. So I approach this as I would the best of the animated shows that I get to do. I wish we could do this all the time. I know it's super expensive to do, so you guys are super lucky to get this, but I'm just grateful to the network they're able to pull this off.
Yeah.
I love the total immersion events. Like they are, it is again like a wonderful opportunity to get to do some hardcore fun acting and just acting. Actually, there was somebody in the office that was like, oh, like I know you've done the Toonami stuff for a while, and I think they hadn't watched stuff like the Intruder series and then Countdown, and they were like, oh, I finally watched those. You're doing some dramatic acting in those. It's like, yeah, that's the whole point, is that it gets to be a little bit more of a world, and not just that. Like I love that the characters change and sort of like what happens. I always find very interesting, and it does that blow people's minds or not?
Yeah.
You never know.
Baby worm.
Mm-hmm.
I like the baby worm.
Baby worm's getting big. It's getting too big.
It was really big too. Did you already see that first part that we, fans got to see?
First time tonight.
So you didn't know that Bo Billingsley was a part of it?
Tonight I found out.
How-
About an hour before the panel. So.
I was very geeked just because of obviously the Cowboy Bebop connection. You must feel at least like, oh sweet, we got someone else in on this.
It's like coming home. Bo is my brother, and we've worked on a lot of shows together. So to get to do anything opposite him is amazing. We're never in the same room at the same time,
Right.
which we weren't for Bebop either. But yeah, that was a very, very happy surprise. So thank you guys for bringing Bo in.
I also say I loved the banter between Tom and Sarah in that. It felt like a lot more banter than like normal. Like Sarah really was giving some sass in that.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part is I don't know, it's also that these guys know me so well now that they'll sometimes let me get away with more as far as being bantery or silly, which is like really nice.
It helps. I mean, it gives more humanity, for lack of a better term, to a robot and an AI, but it's definitely more depth. And we do, I mean, Dana's been great for helping rewrite stuff that we're writing for Sarah from 2 iterations ago, and she's helping making that character her own. And Steve the same way, where it's like half the time the words are misspelled and there's typos, and he's like, I don't know what you're trying to say, but I think this part's going to work. So it's just a fun collaborative process to all come together, and hopefully everyone agrees. But I mean, it's the highlight for us for anything Toonami. I mean, the night is what it is, and the video game reviews are fun and the speeches are good, but I mean, this is, I think, where you want to try to be telling these bigger stories.
And just to make sure, did you do that other like look-alike that we kind of saw of Tom as well? Just I don't want to miscredit or anything. That was you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm very interested.
Yeah.
Since that was the first time you guys, at least I'm sure Gill saw it like 100 times before they were ready for it. What were you most excited about after seeing it? Not necessarily like, oh, we'll get to see a cool new immersion bit, but what was it like after you saw it? You're just like, oh, this is gonna be like, you can't wait to go back. What was it that kind of like grabbed you to want to do more?
Oh man. Well, the whole I kind of know the whole arc because I have been a little bit more involved than we let loose tonight. But
how about just part 1? We'll just go with
yeah.
that.
But hearing Bo honestly was the thing that really grabbed me, because when I'm recording these things, often, especially if there are aliens and things, Gil knows I just record everything. I record the aliens. I record sound effects. Sometimes I don't know what they're going to need, what they're going to use, and I don't know how fast they have to have these things out. So it was such a happy surprise that they put him into that character, and that kind of gave it a whole new level for me. Yeah.
I'm so excited for it. And what about yourself? What was the, like, from part 1 that you saw that was just like, oh, I can't wait to get back to doing more of this. Like, I want to do more with the Forge and things like that.
I'm very excited to fly around more. I'm very excited to save Tom all the time, and just really, I don't know. I just think sometimes you make decisions that you may need a little bit of help, and that's just something that, as Sarah, I really enjoy, is just saving your skin.
I do hope Tom gets fixed. I kind of want to see Tom get a little like back.
neutered?
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, no. I meant more like so we more pristine.
I kind of like the beaten up
Really?
old Tom. Yeah, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, actually.
Don't make him too pretty.
Yeah, I had a thought about that, and that was that, people get kind of upset when that was something that you had mentioned that you and Jason kept seeing, was like, oh, they don't like that Tom's been battle worn. But I think that we have so many fans that have been with us from childhood and now are adults, and there's so much that happens to you between being a child and becoming an adult, and like all of the things you have to go through, and then you have those scars and those are still with you and you still carry those, and it's like learning to appreciate those and flip those and make those your own. And that's something that I see in this version of Tom, is that's like who he is. He's battle worn, but he's still Tom. He's still who he is at the core.
You just converted me on that. I totally agree now. Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, he's real like the Velveteen Rabbit.
Much more succinct.
And for those who might have missed the panel, November 9th is when the first one will premiere for like general public. And 6 parts, you said?
That is the current plan.
Ooh, that could be interesting. At least a question that was asked during the panel that I thought was interesting that I'm sure all of you can answer. Toonami's future, at least like planning for it, going through as the question, I forget who asked, is like, who here has a cable box kind of thing. Where do you guys kind of see the future? Because one thing that my colleagues, all of us have been noticing, a lot of the shows that Toonami's been acquiring has been going on the Adult Swim app and like being streaming and things like that. Do you think we could see more possibilities with not necessarily Toonami Jetstream, but just where Toonami's kind of going into that streaming kind of market to not necessarily stay relevant, because I think Toonami clearly is still relevant considering how many people are out there, how many people seem to still love the show. So I'm curious on kind of what the future, you could at least say what might be looking at when it comes to a plan of attack, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously fewer and fewer people are watching television at a certain time. Most people aren't tuning in. Part of what makes Toonami special and what we try to do to make it special is to create that atmosphere to where you are online with your friends and with the community, and it's sort of a collective experience. I mean, there are obviously some casual fans that haven't seen, but a lot of people have seen these episodes multiple times before we're quote unquote premiering them for the first time. So it's the trick is, how do you take that level of community and that curation and bring it towards a streaming society where people want to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch it. So I think it's some combination of giving more content available on demand and having it be more digital. But I do think that Toonami as a block and as a terrestrial TV station or period will have hopefully a longer shelf life than, say, just I'm going to watch Dragon Ball at 11, because you can watch. There's a lot of different places you can do that. There's not a lot of places where you can have this kind of Toonami community. I mean, everyone in this room sort of has felt that to a different extent for a long period of time. So that's what we want to try to keep maintaining. But there's obviously realities of the streaming world. So I think some of both is a cheap answer, but that's sort of where it is.
Well, that works. I'm sure you guys have some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah. Every Saturday night, I'm on Twitter, and I will be answering live sometimes when I can, with the fans who are staying up and watching Toonami, and people are having parties. They're getting together. They're texting each other, and it really is a worldwide, well, nationwide community right now. And just to be part of that community, I think, is something that I really hope won't go away, because it does keep people engaged in the present. And rather than just saying, yeah, I can record it and watch it later, there's not too many shows that I know of that really have that kind of live community, and continues to be that. So I really have faith that it'll hold on for a little longer. I really hope it will.
It does. It feels like it's stronger, doesn't it?
It really does to me. Yeah. And I hear about it. I do conventions all over the country, and I have this kind of response everywhere I go. So I know that we're doing something right.
I think so. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that just the way that things are moving off of television and into different streaming venues, but also there's the opportunity for Toonami Live Theater, which I'm very excited about with you.
Interpretive dance.
Yes. I think that's going to be the next iteration, maybe a theme park.
Yes.
I think a theme park could be really great.
Yeah, we're not supposed to make that announcement yet, but
No, we're not. But it's in my brain, and I just have these lofty goals. It's Skyview. But I really do, I would actually love to do something I love when we get to cosplay every year, and I would love to do like a Joe Bob Briggs, kind of thing where we talk about all the episodes in costume and then present them. So I think that's what's next. And I'm just going to convince Gill and Jason to produce it. Yeah. So Gill, what do you think?
This is how it happens. Mm-hmm. This is the magic, guys.
I will say, with Gill and Jason saying that they're trying to get more original content too, I hope we get to hear not just Tom and Sarah, but you guys to also take part in maybe these original shows that they're going.
Audition, dude. It's not up to us. We're just voice monkeys. So.
I'm sure you would at least give them the email and be like, oh, if you want to audition for something, we got this going.
yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of spots hopefully still available.
Okay.
We'll have to make some calls and figure out some things, but it should be good.
You know, I'm not opposed to the casting couch thing still at this age, so just so you know.
It's good to know.
I have soft hands.
And for those who might have also missed, you were able to announce 2 shows that are coming to the block. You wanted to do 4, but sadly we can only get 2 at the moment. Can you maybe hint at a timetable of when people might hear the other 2? Would it be this year? Let's say.
Oh, for sure this year. We were pretty close timing-wise on being able to make the announcements, but there's a lot of lawyers on a lot of different sides that have to sign off on things. I would think before San Diego Comic-Con, we would have those announcements.
I was just sure fans, when they heard the announcement, they were supposed to be 4, and they're like,
yeah,
so we're going to hear, so at least they know it's this year.
Yeah, so in the next 24 hours to 24 days, I think we should have at least another announcement, and then hopefully 2. So.
And for those who might have missed it, what were the 2 shows that you did get to announce?
So Lupin was the first one, which was already sort of announced at another convention, and then we're showing Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin starting in July.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I have a show announcement. It's Frasier. Frasier is coming to Toonami.
Yes.
So I'm announcing it, just exclusive announcement. Is that okay?
That's one of the ones we're actually cleared to say. So.
Yeah, we're cleared to say Frasier.
Kind of to finish it up, wrap it up. Oh boy, we couldn't do it with just Frasier. I did want to mention at least you're doing classes for all kinds of VO work. If you wanted to do a mini plug, or just to kind of tell people what that's all about.
Yeah, sure. Go to bloomvoxstudios.com. I am teaching voiceover classes, and it's really a place where people can go to figure out if they want to do voiceover, because there are a lot of predatory teachers out there who don't really do this work. I come screaming in from the trenches every class and sweaty, and run up to the microphone fresh out of a studio. So the information that you're getting there is real world, helpful, useful information. And if it's not right for you, you'll know right away without spending a ton of money. So I have 2 levels of classes. We've got 30 in the can now, and now I'm going to start bringing on live guests from all over the industry. And we also do an advanced coaching class in there. But if you go to bloomvoxstudios.com, all will be revealed. And there's a bunch of free stuff on there for you who do not want to spend money doing this. And it's okay.
And I guess one last thing. Dana, we heard recently you moved to California. Do you think we might be hearing you in some other projects, at least in the future? And do you want to at least hype up at least the fact that you're going to be able to get potentially more opportunities to do what you love?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm, as far as doing things that a person may see. So I am doing some podcast work, which is very exciting, because I think my background is comedy, which is always really fun that I do this. I do Toonami, which says oh, this has heart. This is kind, interesting. So I'm excited to do a comedic podcast that has to do with the body, and that's all I can say about that.
That's very exciting. Gill, can we expect Toonami at more conventions potentially?
This year we're not at a lot of conventions, just because we don't have a lot of show stuff that we're going to be talking about. Next year we're going to have a bigger presence, because we do have originals, so we'll have stuff to start showing. Right now it's just a lot of us filling time, hoping for trailers and things to come out. So I don't know that we may end up having maybe one other one this calendar year, but next year we should have 3 or 4 or 5, I would say.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk with us. This was awesome. The Toonami panel was amazing, and I'm glad you guys had a good time. Honestly, that panel, you could just sense all the nostalgia and all just the happy feelings that a lot of people had, which I'm sure you guys appreciated.
Yeah, super fun.
Absolutely.
Ooh, should we plug our social meds?
I mean,
Sure.
you can.
Oh my God. At Bloomspew. It's BLUMSPEW.
Ooh, and I'm at Dana Swanson. That's DANASWANSON. And Gill?
I'm at Stupid Gill. I'm a terrible Twitter follow, but if you ask me a question, I do my best to answer it.
Nice. Guys, thank you again so much.